In this video, we are going to be talking about Halloween. I really just wanted to make a fun video, and I was a little curious myself about Halloween. I wanted to meditate on the information to see what I would get. I really didn't want it to be very serious because I just want to have fun, honestly. And I feel like it's been a while since I've even celebrated Halloween, so I just wanted to play around with it. But the information that I got was pretty insightful, and I had to look it up afterwards to see if there was any credibility to what I was getting because, I just don't know sometimes. So I got some cool information and I wanted to share it with you today. My name is Catherine. I'm an energy healer, spiritual coach, and nurse practitioner. If you need personalized coaching or an energy healing from yours truly, then you can go to my website at catherineglassman.com, or you can email me at hello@catherineglassman.com. Please keep in mind that all of this information is channeled through meditation. And so if it resonates with you, then great. And if not, that's totally fine. Some of the information that I got, I had heard before, and then I had to verify by just doing a Google research, which is what I usually do anyway, because sometimes I just don't believe what I get, right? I have self-doubt and insecurity, so I have to validate it. And it all checked out, which was fun. And then there was like a deity that came in the end, so I'll share that with you too. But the first question I asked was, what is Halloween? And I already knew generally what Halloween was. I kind of knew that it was based out of like a pagan holiday, and that it's like the one night of the year where like the veil is the thinnest. And I mean, I think I may have learned that from like Hocus Pocus or something. But other than that, I didn't really know much about Halloween. And so what I got during meditation is that Halloween it seems to be rooted from the Celtic culture, and it is based from like a pagan tradition, right? And so I don't know a lot about paganism. What I do know is that they respect cycles, and so this is part of cycles, or celebrating the cycles of the planet, and so specifically the seasons, right? And so when I had this visual, I saw people outside celebrating, like making bonfires and like wearing masks, right? And the reason why they would do this is because this particular holiday, which I later looked up, and it's called Samhain, and I think it's spelled Samhain, but I think it's pronounced Samhain. I'm not really sure. But this particular holiday was to mark the beginning of the end of a cycle. And so through everything is made up of cycles. The human body, a woman's cycle, the moon cycle, seasons, everything is in a cycle. And at some point, the cycle has to end. And winter is symbolic for the end of the yearly cycle. Winter is when everything dies. Trees die, grass dies, the fruits and vegetables all die. This is why you harvest it beforehand, so that you can store it away for winter, because winter is what is most difficult to survive. And so back in that day, winter was traditionally the time when a lot of people just wouldn't survive. And so because it was the beginning of the end, this is something that a lot of humans understood, and it kind of instilled fear in some people. And rather than it instilling fear, this tradition was really meant to empower you so that you can be better prepared for the winter. So I got a flash of the death card from the tarot deck. And if you are not familiar with tarot, a lot of people will think that the death card is bad or it's evil, and it's not. The death card represents the end of something, the end of a cycle, so that something else can be reborn. And so the death card is basically what Halloween is. It's just the end, it's the beginning of the end of a cycle. Now, what they told me is that the reason why that it ends up being the one night of the year where spirits are a little bit more prevalent and are a little bit more active is not necessarily because they actually are more active on that particular day. It is more symbolic for the darkness that is about to come. Because during winter, the nights start to get longer and the days get shorter. And there actually is just more physical darkness. Because there is more physical darkness, the darkness is something that a lot of humans do not have a good relationship with and are often scared of. So not only are they scared of the dark, but they are also scared of winter because that is traditionally when people would die. It would just be a very difficult time to survive through the winter. And so with all of that being in mind, you can potentially just be anticipating something scary or something bad to happen for the next few months or so. So the reason why it is more prevalent of ghostly activity is not because it actually really is, but it's because of the energy of that fear of the darkness and of the death that may or may not come in the winter, if that makes sense. So it's almost like you are attracting your own vibration by just being scared of something and being nervous and not feeling very empowered. So darker energies, dark entities, they do feel more comfortable residing within the darkness. And because during winter, there are days or nights where there's just more darkness, there will naturally be more dark entities around, if this makes sense. Hopefully it does. But also because many humans do not know how to integrate the darkness or are scared of the darkness, it makes it easier for those dark entities to influence those people who are scared of the dark. And so in this tradition, they understood that, and this is why they would don costumes. And their costumes would specifically be of scary things. It wouldn't necessarily be costumes like we would wear today, like cute ones of princesses or things like that. They would actually be like frightening intentionally. The frightening costumes would not only match the energy of the dark entities, but it would help the human feel a little bit more empowered by, it's almost like if you can't beat them, join them type of energy. This was just a way for them to acknowledge that the dark energies are real, and rather than being scared of it, it helps them be empowered by it. And apparently there really are entities out there that would actually get confused if you were wearing like a scary costume. And I mean, this makes sense. If I think about a dark entity, almost like a bully, if a bully sees a kid that's like running away from them or like scared of them, then they're going to be more inclined to pick on that kid. But if you see a bully that looks like a bully and is like not scared of you at all, then they will be less inclined to pick on them. That's kind of the vibe that I get. And when I get this visual, I see people wearing like these crazy costumes and like dancing around a bonfire, and they actually look scary. Like the people that are celebrating this holiday look frightening when really they're just regular people and they're just kind of tapping into that darkness so that the darkness doesn't bother them and doesn't scare them. I mean, to me, this actually makes a lot of sense because even today, a lot of people suffer with seasonal affective disorder or seasonal depression, it's because of the lack of physical light and sunshine. And so you'll have to use LED lights during the winter so that you don't go into a depression. But we know that if you are depressed or if you are anxious or if you are in a lower vibration, you are more susceptible to dark entities and dark influences. But this particular holiday is to acknowledge that that is a real thing that is probably going to happen. And therefore, we need to prepare by being a little bit more proactive, by kind of shooing the dark entities away. And I just love that because that is like my whole thing. That's the whole reason why I even watch horror movies, is because of the final girl, right? That tough character that's like, I'm not scared of anything and I will defeat all of the monsters. So I'm here for it. I like it. So the next question I asked was, is Halloween evil? And they said no. Nothing is really evil. I mean, we can say that something's evil so that it makes it easier to identify that as being very bad and intentionally bad. But when it comes to nature and just the natural world, there really is no evil. It's just a darkness. It's just the opposite of a light. And so this particular holiday helps us acknowledge the darkness. That way we have a better relationship with it rather than just denying it and just be absolutely frightened of it. And this is true with our own darkness. We all have a darkness within us, and it will always be better to know what that darkness is, to really sit with it, and to show compassion and love to it, rather than just completely denying it and pretending like it's not even there, because it will manifest in your life at the most inconvenient time. And if you just have a better relationship with it, then you'll have a better control of how you express that darkness. But that concept goes back to the whole wearing scary costumes on Halloween. I guess it kind of helps you just tap into your own darkness so that you're not scared of it. Because if you're scared of your own darkness, or if you're scared of the darkness in general, then in a way you kind of are denying your own darkness. And really, you just want to find balance. You want to find balance, and you want to find this ability to wield that darkness in a controlled sense. So I finished asking that question, and I'm just kind of sitting there meditating and asking if there's anything else that I can share. And this deity came up, and he was very big. It was a man, masculine, and he had goat legs, and he had a humanoid torso and a human head, I guess, kind of. I don't know. With horns, like goat horns, like big ones that kind of went like that. And he was holding something as if it was like a horn or a flute or something. And he just kept doing this. And I didn't know who he was, but I felt like I've seen that image before, or I've seen that character, or I don't know. I just didn't know who he was. And so I stopped the meditation, I got on my computer and I started Googling. And first I wanted to validate the information that I got. And a lot of it did align, but the whole, darkness part of it, I didn't really get a lot of information on that, but that's okay. So I'm trying to figure out who this guy is. And the one person that I could find, his name was Pan, and he is a Greek god of fertility. He is the Greek god of the wilderness, shepherds, and hunters. But when I was seeing this image, he was more identifying with the Celtic culture rather than Greek mythology. But he is more well known as Pan in the Greek culture rather than the deity that he is in the Celtic tradition. And so and I think there is another deity that the Celtic culture calls him. I knew the name before, but I'm just gonna look it up. Let's see. Okay, so I guess his name is Dusios in the Celtic tradition. So Dusios and Pan are just the same deity, just in two different, cultures. And so, so now I'm trying to figure out who this guy is. And I was like, why would he pop up into my meditation? Well, apparently he has a reputation of getting enjoyment out of scaring people or like herds of sheep and cattle. So he would enjoy scaring them. And the local people would know that he was around because they would hear him playing his flute. So, of course, once I read that, I was like, okay, then this must be the guy that I'm seeing. And because he enjoyed scaring people and scaring like farm animals so much, his name apparently is what inspired the word panic. Panic. So that makes a lot of sense. And I asked, well, why would you want to scare people? And the energy that I got was that it's not that he enjoyed scaring people. What he is trying to do is he's trying to toughen you up because there is a lot of scary things out there. There is a lot of darkness. And if you constantly just panic anytime someone like spooks you, then you're not going to be able to really defend yourself in a very conscious way. But, by scaring you on a regular basis, you kind of just toughen up a little bit and you get less scared and you become a little more desensitized so that you can remain calm and make good decisions like in the moment. But this particular deity, he does like to associate himself with Halloween or with Samhain for that reason. And the energy that I was getting from this deity is that he actually is on the side of humanity. He's on the side of giving people the power or helping people feel empowered within themselves to fight the darkness and to just not be scared of it. And he reminded me, which, I have learned over the years, especially after experiencing a lot of psychic attacks, that the darker energies really don't have any power over you. The one thing that they have over you is the ability to use your own fear against you. It's the only thing that they really have is they really are counting on you to just be scared of them. Because as long as you're scared of them, then they have the power. But the day you say that you're not scared and you really mean it, they have lost their power completely. It truly disarms them. And so clearly, Pan has this unconventional way of helping you not be scared of the darkness or scared of ghouls and goblins and things like that. He sort of has this attitude of just match their energy. And he himself, he didn't really look that scary to me, but I could see him morphing into something that could be very, very frightening. And of course, if I saw, a 7 foot, 8 foot, goat-legged, horned, humanoid thing playing a flute in the middle of the forest, yeah, I'd probably get a little freaked out. But he definitely does not mean to frighten people just to frighten them. It really is to actually help them become stronger, which, I can really appreciate because there are a lot of, deities out there that are very much in the light and very beautiful and loving. And I love that. And I think it's amazing. But it is kind of nice to have like a darker deity come around every once in a while and to really just to make you feel empowered and to make you feel stronger. Like I just really like that kind of energy. But that's me personally, right? If you know me, then you know that that's the reason why I watch horror movies is to feel more empowered than anything. And I do resonate with that message and that information because that is always the example that I like to give to people. I always like to talk about the final girl, right? The survival girl at the end of a horror movie. She transforms into this different person that is just no longer going to take anything from anyone anymore because this is her life. She's going to run the show from now on. And I don't know, I love that. So then I asked him, well, what can humans do to really make the most out of Halloween then, or make the most out of Samhain? And he said to go get scared. He said to go to the haunted houses, to get dressed up, to watch horror movies, to just embrace the darkness, not because you want to be part of the darkness or because you want to be, scared and just in an anxious state. It is more to just feel empowered that you can handle those things. Give yourself the opportunity to go to a haunted house, not because you are actually truly scared, but rather to just kind of laugh at it and be like, yeah, nice try, but you're just going to have to do better than that. And the more you expose yourself to those kinds of things, the more desensitized you really become from that. And so when you are presented with something that is a truly frightening experience, you're not going to jump to just pure panic mode. Funny. You're not going to just jump to just a straight panic mode, but you'll actually be able to look at it and analyze it and make a logical decision from there on out. And he says eventually you will learn to have fun when you're just not scared all the time. He says this is the time to take that energy and to make it yours. You will not be a victim of the fear. You will be a holder of it. You will be one who can wield it. And of course, not because you want to scare other people or because you want to be frightening or because you want to be a part of the darkness. It is just that you get to understand now that you can be if you want to be. Because only you have the ability to make the darkness fear you. And he says, the time to be fearful is over. The time to instill the fear is now. Ooh, yeah, he liked that one. So I really liked it. I haven't celebrated Halloween in a while, so I decided to wear my shirt, my little horror movie shirt. I don't know. I thought it would be fun. So, okay, well, that's it. Hopefully it was a positive message. I definitely meant it in a positive way. I liked it. But I mean, that's just kind of my vibe anyway. It's I just really like it. But I hope this encourages you to celebrate Halloween, to really make it your own, and to just be my favorite thing in the world as far as movies go, the final girl. So, but I hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Happy Halloween!